wall is green and the justice is social. Have you ever been politely requested to check your privilege? Well, probably not. It was probably yelled at you in reactive anger. Still, what is a privilege? Well, I'm glad you asked. In the sociological context, it's an advantage, or the lack of a disadvantage, that a person or group experiences relative to other people or groups. That same POG may experience relative disadvantages, which I'm gonna call detriments, okay? It's kinda just luck. Luck of the draw in your situation. Like, people who live near the convenience store have that privilege over people who don't. It's a convenience. People who don't have the name Colin have the privilege of not having others call them Colon as if it's funny when it's not. Anyway, there are things we don't always notice, especially in the lack of a disadvantage context. When it's a lack of a disadvantage, it feels very much like normality, like that's not a weighted experience, it's just neutral existence. Except the very ability to perceive this as neutral existence is born of privilege. I'm getting too metaphysical here, let's do an example. Short people experience the advantageous privilege of being really good at hide and seek, and the lack of a disadvantageous privilege of not walking into door frames all the time. They also experience detriments, like having to jump to sit on chairs. I don't think that short people have an absolutely easier or harder life than the rest of us, but they're affected in particular ways that we ought to recognize. There are loads of elements at play, and other features of each individual will affect their outlook and perception, and privileges and detriments and other shit too complex for that one-dimensional advantage axis. It's not just logistics though, it's also in how we're perceived and treated. We treat people differently based on things we interpret about them, like gender, race, and sexuality. An individual is a unique combination of many different attributes, all of which affect them differently in society. And it's wise for that individual to be aware of these things. Maybe the Latin root of the word is more conducive to considering the concept.
Privilegium.
Meant or means a law that applies to an individual, not necessarily good or bad. That's worth being aware of, right? So, checkius your
privilegium.
The phrase check your privilege before it mutated into whatever the fuck it is now was a little catchphrase intended to remind us how our individual position affects our outlook. And that's really useful. Maybe a better way to put it is, be mindful of how your demographical attributes affect your outlook, condition, and unique experience. Maybe a more succinct way to put that is, check your privilege, please.